Welcome back, everyone. If you've been here for the entire Catapult series, welcome back. If you're now seeing this for the first time, welcome to an incredible experience, man. Welcome to this afternoon's Catapult discussion. This is the Lockdown Virtual Salon, where we have incredible conversations with some very talented Caribbean artists. And this evening, I myself, DJ Simmons, I'll be having an in-depth conversation with an hip-hop artist from Jamaica. I'm talking about the man Five Steez. Now, before we begin, I want to express an incredible thank you to all the Catapult partners that are involved in bringing this to you. I'm speaking about the American Friends of Jamaica, Kingston Creative, and of course, Fresh Milk of Barbados for bringing together these sessions and making the salons happen. Now, was really good about the Catapult series is that you yourself, the public, can actually enter your questions into the comment section as the conversation continues. And in the question and answer segment, that is when we will choose your questions to ask them directly to the artists themselves. So as the conversation continues and you have some questions for Five Steez, make sure to put them in the comments. Yes? All right. So I'm very excited about this. This is a really cool guy. Let's get to know him better. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the Catapult series and the virtual lockdown salon, the hip hop artist from Jamaica. Please welcome Five Steez, ladies and gentlemen. Mm. For some reason, I'm not hearing you, Five Steez. Is everything? Just want to make sure everything is good. Make sure you unmute if anything is muted because we definitely want to hear what you have going on. Let's try again. Let's see. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're standing by with Five Steez. We're just going to take a quick minute to make sure we get this all sorted out. We are so excited. Just give us 1 minute. Okay, welcome again, people. Five Steez, let's hear you. Are you good to go? Okay. We seem to be having a couple of technical right now. We're very sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen, but thank you so much for joining us. Don't worry, we have so much more coming up on the Catapult Lockdown Virtual Salon. Coming up this Friday, you're going to have a really in-depth conversation with the lady from the Cayman Islands, Natalie Urquhart. She's going to be in discussion with Susan Maines. So you don't want to miss that. Friday the 13th is always a special day. And it'll be great if you join us back here Friday at 1 p.m. on the Fresh Milk YouTube channel to hear the conversation that Susan Maines, she's from Grenada, she's going to have a conversation with Natalie Urquhart. And then at 4 o'clock, Susan will be back again to have a conversation with Nicholas Rose from Jamaica. We're going to be in Jamaica again. So make sure you join us again on Friday. going to be joining us again on Friday. That is for more sessions up with the Catapult team. We're going to take another quick minute and we're going to come right back. Yes?
All right.
Thank you so much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. You know, all good things, you know, you got to wait for all good things. So this is going to be great. Welcome once again, the hip hop artist from Jamaica. We can hear him loud and clear now.
Excellent.
Five Steez, how you doing, my brother?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. And I'm happy that people can hear me. You know what I mean? So thank you for having me. Thank you, Catapult, American Friends of Jamaica, Kingston Creative, Freshman Barbados. I'm excited to be here right now.
Nice, nice. So you guys out there in the chat, don't forget, once you're here, if you're enjoying the conversation and you have questions for Five Steez, you can put them in the comments and we will get to them in the Q&A segment. Now, we're hearing the Jamaica accent coming out, you know, and the first thing, no matter where you are in the world, the first thing you think about when it comes to Jamaica is reggae music. But here comes Five Steez, hip hop artists, you know, like where if you were to introduce yourself to someone you never met before, in your words, how would you introduce yourself, Five Steez?
Okay, well, I'm an independent hip hop artist based here in Jamaica, and I describe my music pretty much as boom bap hip hop, the type of hip hop that you may have heard in the 90s, what I consider the essence. And I've been active for a good while. I kind of measure my career from, say, 2010, when I believe I started making a name. And I've been releasing music, albums, EPs, mixtapes, performing locally as well as internationally at festivals. And I've been playing my part in raising awareness about hip hop in Jamaica, as well as the connection between Jamaican culture, dancehall, sound system culture, and hip hop culture.
That's really interesting. So you said that you established some platforms. So that means you've been working with other hip hop artists to create platforms. Tell us about some of the platforms you have created in Jamaica and who you work with.
Okay, well, one of the most recent platforms, although it's not entirely a hip hop platform, is the Apollo series, which is a brainchild of a friend of mine, Simon the writer. He actually used to rap with me in a rap group when we went to high school. And it's pretty much a open mic or an open stage series where any artist can participate. It could be a singer, dancehall artist, a rapper, a dancer. You're able to participate in an open stage. And we've been doing that for about 2 years, but you know, with COVID now, a lot of live music has slowed up. Prior to that, I was also working on an event called Pay Attention. So I'm also a member of a crew called the Council, which is a 4-member crew. And we're putting on this event called Pay Attention between 2012 and 2015. And that was pretty much the only hip hop series that we've really seen in Kingston.
Nice, nice. I don't know about the people in the chat, but I'm loving these names. The event, the platform is called Pay Attention. I love that. Yes. Instead of paying money, you're paying attention. I love that. And who are the names in the council? Who are the names of these people in the council?
Okay, so the council is myself. There's also Nomad Carlos. There is Instincts, and there is the Sickest Drama.
Nice, the Sickest Drama. And well, when it's some serious, you gotta pay attention to them names for sure. So I mean, instead of just asking you what kind of music that you produce, I believe there's a video where we can actually hear that. So let's hear some of the music, again, an example of the music you produce. So let's roll the first video.
up in the building like a takeover. My stakeholders push the Range Rovers.
Wow, I'm ready to see the rest already. What is that video? That's a trailer for a project you have coming out.
Yes.
What?
That is a trailer for a music video that I put out a few months ago called ABS. And that was featured on an EP that I recently released called Heat Rocks 2.0. So in that music video, I am basically a soldier, you know, like a rebel soldier that's being hunted. And, you know, I get captured, but they just can't break me. So that's kind of what you're seeing there in the trailer. Yeah.
I saw clips of that on your Instagram. If people actually want to follow you and learn more about you on Instagram, just drop your Instagram handle really quick so that people can follow you.
Okay, my Instagram handle is @Five Steez. You should see my name right there. Yeah, you get ID. You see my name. So that's how it's spelled everywhere. FIVESTEEZ, and that's my name on every platform. Five Steez.
All right, great. Loving this introduction. So let's get into some meat to the matter now. So everybody sees how internationally, globally, how hip hop music is integrated into pop culture. Whether you're seeing it involved in sports, you're seeing it in advertising, hip hop music is a part of pop culture. And international hip hop artists have benefited from working with brands or companies, products, whatever, whoever. Are there any companies or brands that you have worked with, whether in Jamaica or even internationally?
Okay, well, I think in terms of major brands or established entities, probably the most prominent I could say right now at this point in time is there's a national advertising campaign going on in Jamaica by an organization called the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica. And they're basically responsible for overseeing the content on broadcast media, you know, radio, TV, etc. And they have a campaign that is targeting children. They can't regulate the online space, but they're trying to influence behavior and basically raise awareness about what people are sharing online. So there's a campaign called What If? And I actually did a rap jingle that is now being aired on local television, has been aired since about February or March, and it gets a lot of rotation. So a lot of people end up seeing it and people recognize me from the ad, etc.
Wow. That's and it's ongoing now. It's still getting rotation.
I haven't seen it much, but people do see it, and I think it used to come on before the primetime news, especially when COVID just came. So a lot of people are glued to their TVs at prime time. You know, I am on, people are seeing it. So I do know people still see it because I'll be walking on the road and random people who may not know me as an artist and know my work may see me and will say, hey, aren't you the guy that I saw? You know, so that happens almost daily. You know, it's only because of COVID where I'm not out as much, but before COVID, daily people would recognize me.
Yes. Definitely could identify with that because here over in Barbados, our evening news shows at 7 p.m. And if you ever are in the clip or advertisement minutes before the news, everybody recognizes you the next day.
Yeah.
Okay, good. No, you're from Jamaica, but you know we want to know you're doing hip hop music, but we want to know how do you infuse your Jamaican culture? Because obviously you're going to put a little bit of home into your craft. So how does the influence of Jamaican culture fuse into your work? How does being Jamaican, help you craft your songs?
Okay, well, for me, I would say the biggest thing in terms of my music and hip hop in Jamaica that really makes it unique is putting that Jamaican reality and perspective. So when you listen to my music, you will get that Kingston lifestyle or the Kingston reality. In fact, there's an EP that I have from 2014 called These Kingston Times, and it was pretty much just about Kingston, nowhere else, nothing else. And that is a major theme in the music that I do. especially say the Council album, Nothing Else Matters, that we put out in 2017, really delved into certain social and political topics on that album. So that's something that always comes out in the music. But you will also hear at times, you know, whether it's a slang or a dancehall rhythm or reggae, a certain little infusion in the sound. But really that doesn't make it unique to Jamaica, because if you've been following hip hop ever since the 80s, rappers in New York have been using patois, they've been using dancehall in hip hop. So from New York to Toronto to the UK, like Jamaican style and soul has always been in hip hop. So as much as we do that, I am conscious that that doesn't really make our flavor or our brand of hip hop in Jamaica really unique, because Jamaicans are imitated all over the world. So really it's about putting that perspective in the music, because no one that, if you haven't lived here, you cannot do that. And I think that's something that makes the music stand out. When I listened to hip hop and I heard, say, Jay-Z, he was talking about Marcy Projects, Brooklyn. Nas is talking about Queensbridge Projects, Queens. We have to rep Kingston and talk about where we're from. And I'm hoping, just like I've been able to learn about cities that I've never been to or neighborhoods I've never been to, someone from miles away, whether they're in the US or they're in Japan, they can listen to what I'm doing and understand a little bit more about what's going on in Kingston or in Jamaica.
Nice. I love that answer. I love that answer. It's so important what you're speaking about in terms of representing your home in the same way how international artists are doing it the same way. What's the reception like to the hip hop music at home and both abroad? Like when you're speaking about Kingston, what's the reception to that abroad and at home?
Okay, now depending on when you ask me this question, at which stage in my journey, you get a different answer.
Interesting.
If you asked me 10 years ago, I would tell you it's a tough journey and there's not a lot of reception. People are trying to fight it. They're not giving you an avenue or a chance. And after 10 years, I mean, that still is the case somewhat, because there is no avenue really for hip hop music in Jamaica. It's either reggae or it's dancehall. But after doing this for 10 years and creating so many opportunities and platforms for myself, I think people have gained respect for me. I can't say whether they're completely fans or, you know, but I think people have started to acknowledge and recognize and even tip their hat to what I'm doing a little bit more, even if they don't understand it or believe in it. And I think that's because of the consistency and the persistence. So in addition to that, I think times are changing. So we have a younger generation that's making music now and listening to music, and they're not set in this idea as much that Jamaicans have to make reggae or have to make dancehall. And a lot of the dancehall now, if you check it out, it's actually on trap beats. A lot of the young reggae artists actually used to be hip hop artists or fuse hip hop in their music in such a way that it might sound more like hip hop than reggae. And if you look at an artist like Coffee, for example, that won the Reggae Grammy, her music is hardly reggae. So there's actually an undercurrent in Jamaican music right now where the younger generation is just listening to what they want to listen to and making what they want to make. It's just that Five Steez is on like the extreme end of this, the term just slipped me, I don't know why. I'm on the extreme end where I'm not just fusing hip hop with other genres. I'm just straight up making hip hop music.
Right.
And I've had to create opportunities for myself and kick down doors. And I can't say the music is fully accepted, but people are embracing it more. And locally, well, let me say, internationally, it's a completely different experience. I've found that internationally, people are very much intrigued. So whereas Jamaicans may think, oh my God, you're rapping, nobody abroad wants to hear that. The hip hop audience overseas is hearing the music and thinking, yo, you're from Kingston and you sound like this? It gets them excited because it reminds them of the hip hop that they love. And also there's a new twist. There's something different about it. So I think locally we don't understand, especially if people are not into hip hop. I don't think they understand how golden local hip hop is, and just the avenues that we can tap into with this music.
I really connecting with these answers, Steve. I can't even get you to understand. I'm going to give you a quick example where I've spoken to a number of persons in Barbados who work at the big hotels, the major hotels, and they say a lot of the visitors to the island, they actually rather go and they want to go where people are buying food off the streets at the really popular food stalls, because that's where the locals are really, that's where the culture of the food is. That so we sometimes don't understand how powerful our own content is. We try to push, we don't understand how good we can be, and we try to push the outside content to the outside people when they're really looking for what really is core to us. So that's really important. I'm glad you said that. Is that it actually goes into another question that I had for you, because I was wondering, as a Jamaican hip hop artist, how some of the people outside of Jamaica would actually see you. Do you find it challenging to be taken seriously as a hip hop artist if you're a Jamaican, or do people just say, "Oh, I love in the flow, bring a beat, let this man do his thing"?
Yeah, I've had zero negative experiences dealing with people within hip hop culture outside of Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because they can sense that I'm authentic, I'm true to the culture. This is something that I've been into for a large part of my life, and I've been practicing for a very long time. And they can sense the proficiency when they hear me and when they see me on stage, etc. So I don't really have any roadblocks outside of Jamaica in terms of building connections. The roadblocks are really lack of resources or lack of connections, if anything. Mm-hmm. Locally, as I said, people are still just starting to get it. And I've seen where there are people that are entrenched in the industry, even elders that might look down upon it because they don't get it. They don't understand the value. And I can't really knock them because they're not even into hip hop. Like that, hip hop is really something foreign to them. But I've seen where people overseas are excited about what I'm doing. And even, for example, perhaps we can show one of the performance photos that I sent, where I performed at the Trinity International Hip Hop Festival in 2018. And that's an international hip hop festival that features artists from all over the world. And I was the first Jamaican act to perform there. And I, in fact, returned the next year in 2019 with my crew, the council. And we got a lot of love. It was a great experience. And I think we all feel that it was one of the best weekends of our life, of our lives, because it's great to do your craft and to be able to do it for people that appreciate it. And as I said, coming from Jamaica, being unique like that, it was nothing but just love. Like, people are just like, yo, they love you already enough. And then when they find out you're Jamaican, it's like the love just intensifies. It's like a different, completely different treatment.
Speaking about the council, I think we have another photo of the council. We could bring that up.
Yes.
So you can introduce the council to our chat.
So this is the council, and it's a 4-member crew. I mentioned it earlier. We put out an album called Nothing Else Matters in 2017. Mm-hmm. And to my right, or to the left of your screen, you will see Nomad Carlos, and then you will see Instincts, and you will see The Sickest Drama.
For some reason, I feel you can meet The Sickest Drama, though.
I hope he's tuned in right now.
Sweet. But that's great. It's great to hear that you guys went overseas and participated in that, and was able to feel the love, the genuine love, for sure. Now, I know that you brought it up a little bit before when you spoke about communicating messages in your music and stuff like that. Do you believe or do you feel obligated as you are doing social commentary, as you spoke about it from the beginning of time, hip hop was all about speaking about what's happening around you? Do you feel obligated to have strong social commentary messages in your music that is encouraging change and trying to improve things? Do you think that's very important in your music?
I do. And I think it's just an extension of who I am as a person. So it's not something that I think about a whole lot. And I find sometimes in Jamaica, there's almost like what I call a false dichotomy in music, where people think that you either have to be like clean and conscious, or it's slack, like the most raw music possible, you know? So I don't really consider myself a conscious artist, even though people might call me that. I might just be a conscious person, you know? But at the end of the day, I'm just expressing myself, you know, my own experience, my observations, my thoughts. And I think that's all it is. So if you want to put it in a box and think of it as social commentary or conscious music, that's just because that's what's on my mind. And I do believe certain things need to be said. I think music is a powerful medium. And for me, that is my craft. So I'm always going to write about certain things and put that into the music.
Nice, nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a conversation between myself and Five Steez. If you want to get involved, don't forget you could actually jump in to the comments and put any questions that you have. We're going to get to the question and answer section a little bit later down in the salon. So don't forget, drop in your questions. We can get to them. Having a brilliant conversation here with Five Steez. If you're now joining us, myself, DJ Simmons, part of the Catapult Lockdown Virtual Salon right here with the hip-hop artist from Jamaica, Five Steez. Now, Steez, I'm going to ask you a question that is a question that goes for, I believe, all kinds of hip-hop artists, lyricists around there internationally. There's always, I know there has to be some hip-hop fans and even artists in the chat as well. And there's always a conversation of lyrics versus flow versus the beat or the rhythm of the music. So when it comes to your music, in your opinion, what do you think is the most important? The lyrics of the song, the flow, or the actual rhythm? What do you think is most important in your opinion?
I think all are equally important. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just share a little bit about my creative process. So I tell people this, I can't write without a beat. Well, I can, but I don't. And I don't write to one beat and then take that rhyme or that song and put it on another beat. I could, but I don't. And that's because I feel like the music usually speaks to me. So whatever I write to a beat, it's almost like the beat tells me. It's like the beat gives me the idea. Like it would not come about if it weren't for that beat, that particular flow, that pattern, that cadence. It was produced by the beat. So for me, all of these things go together. And if you take the same lyrics that you wrote to beat A, for example, on beat B, you might have to flow it differently. It may not work the same. So for me, all these things work in tandem and none is more important than the other. Now for me though, I don't make beats, I rap. So I'm always more focused on the rhymes, the lyrics itself, as well as the flow. So that is where I'm coming from as an artist and as a creative, but all of this comes together and you can't really negate one part of it. People love lyrics, but you need a beat. And without a beat, it's not really music, it's just poetry. And poetry is great, but there are times when you want that rhythm. So you need that, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure where DJ went at this point, but I hope to see him come back on shortly. Now, for myself, as I said, I'm a lyricist. I've been rapping for more than half my life. Actually, tomorrow is, I'll let you guys know this, tomorrow is my birthday, and I turn 34 tomorrow. I've been rapping for easily 20 years. DJ, how you doing? Welcome back.
Yes. Not good, man. Not sure what happened there.
It's just life. That's there, welcome to the digital world.
Came in just to hear that you're going to
repeat that. Come again.
Came in just time to hear that you're going to be 34 tomorrow.
Yes. So tomorrow is my birthday, and I'm going to be 34. And I was just saying that to put it in context and say, yo, I've been rapping at least 20 years. Like I've been doing this a long time, and I'm very passionate about lyrics. So for me as a listener, my favorite rappers is because of their lyrics, whether it's Nas, AZ, whoever. And that's a big part of it. But I know the music is going to drag people or bring them in. So I always want production that knocks. I want people to feel it. And I like music that is atmospheric, or it just evokes emotion. So as I said, all of this is a part of it. So the beat will set the stage for the flow or the lyrics, you know what I mean? So they're all important. All of it is an essential part of hip hop and music in general.
Do you think that there may be a particular song as it would vary from song to song, or do you believe that they're equally balanced in all of your productions?
Well, all right. Well, let me tell you. For example, if you're telling a story, I think that has to be more lyric focused than a song where it's more about creating a vibe. You know, if you're painting a picture, having to give certain details, then you have to be focused on those words. So yeah, there is like an equal balance with everything, but depending on the type of song, I think some songs may be more lyrical, or you cannot understand what is going on without following the lyrics. You know, it's not just a few things to hear and you vibe to and you sing along to. You really have to follow it almost like it's literary. In fact, that's part of why I think I love hip hop and the lyricism in hip hop. It's very much a literary art, and all forms of songwriting are a literary art. But for me, hip hop it combines so many things. Like there's so much wordplay, metaphors, similes, punchlines, rhyme schemes, and I think that was what appealed to me as a youngster, and still does. So a lot of times, even to this day, I finish writing a rhyme and I just think, yo, I love doing this. You know what I mean? So that's me. I'm passionate about words and using them to get a message across and to use them in even clever ways, you know?
Nice. I love that. As a poet myself, I could definitely relate to what you're saying.
Yes.
So you said you've been professionally rapping for a decade, rapping for the last 20 years.
Yes.
I'm sure that you have seen a change, a journey along the path of your career. How would you say the impact of hip hop? How would you say the impact of hip hop has been influenced over those years, or has changed over those years? The whole hip hop movement in Jamaica.
Okay, hip hop in Jamaica. Wow. It's a loaded topic. It's a loaded topic. Hip hop in Jamaica right now, I'm still trying to figure out where hip hop in Jamaica is at this very moment. And it's very difficult because we have something called COVID-19 and there are no live music events. So the places where I may see some of the talent or hear about people, I'm not able to be there. Now, historically, as I've said, hip hop in Jamaica has not been really embraced or supported. And there are just two avenues for music in Jamaica, reggae and dancehall. So even though people love hip hop, they listen to it, people don't see a space for it, or they don't see it flourishing or being successful. And I think because of that, especially, people are sometimes reluctant to support it or to get on a bandwagon because they don't see it blowing up like everything else. So because of that, we haven't had any major support, and that's why we created something called Pay Attention in 2012. We've had events that have had hip-hop artists. Hip-hop artists have been on the radio, been on TV, etc., but nobody has really broken through. And when we did Pay Attention, we wanted to kind of galvanize a movement and present it. And as I said, it was the only real hip-hop series we've seen. Now, I've done some other hip-hop events since. Other people have done events that have embraced the community, but we haven't really seen anything dedicated to the genre and the culture like that. And I think it says two things. One, it may speak to the drive and the ideas that come to me and my peers, but it also speaks to the fact that we're almost like in a barren wasteland. Sometimes I think with hip-hop, where there's so much development that we really need in terms of building an industry or even a community. So what we have now is a lot of rappers, but people aren't really connected. With Pay Attention, that was us really bringing the community together and presenting it. And as I say, we haven't seen anything quite like that. So there are people doing their things all over, but there's no unified movement or idea of who we are, what we are doing. And I would like to see that, you know, but as I said, doing hip hop in Jamaica is not an easy journey. I happen to be one of the few acts that have persevered, and it's because there's just not a lot of opportunities. I've been fortunate to tap into a lot, and I think the way I look at it is, I read the book The Outliers, right? And in reading The Outliers, I kind of found things in it that made sense to me, and I realized that some of the experiences that I've had from early put me on a trajectory where it's going to seem like I'm moving ahead in a way further than, say, peers or other people, because I've gotten certain knowledge and experience that prepare me for other opportunities down the line that someone else may not see or be able to take advantage of. So I've just been on my grind, really, and just trying to do as much as possible. But what I've been able to do is not reflective of the community or the scene at all. I'm an outlier, definitely, and in some ways an outsider in the bigger music scene, where I'm like a part of it and people might be embracing and accepting me and seeing me, but I'm doing something different. So people see me sometimes as the other, and they don't know how to deal with me, or they don't want to embrace me or give me a platform, or they just don't know what to do, you know?
Well, I believe as you stay consistent, you're going to be rewarded for the work that you've done. I mean, you're only 34, you know. You gotta keep hitting and hitting and hitting. Don't stop at all, because you're doing some great work. You got some great visuals. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you, if you have any questions at all for Five Steez, we're going to be covering them in the Q&A segment coming up very shortly. You could just type them in the comment section, and we will definitely get to them. All right, now we're going to talk about a topic that I believe not only people in Jamaica they have a challenge with, but people all over the Caribbean, where it finds that it's so hard sometimes, as you were just explaining greatly, how it's very hard to get support from home. You know, you always tend to have to go overseas to bust first, you know, to get the recognition from someone outside of your island. And then when that happens, then you get the support from home. So in a genre like hip hop music, is it easier to actually gain support from at home, or do you get most of your support from abroad?
Okay, well, generally, I would say most of the support comes from, especially when it comes to the platforms that support the music, it's mostly hip hop DJs from elsewhere. It's mostly hip hop blogs, hip hop websites. But I think because of my presence locally, and even I noticed this when we were doing Pay Attention, especially, I think just having a physical space and performing regularly helped to kind of energize my local fan base and people that exist in Jamaica that may be observing what's going on. So I would say my local audience has kind of grown. I should probably sit down right now and try to figure out how it's balancing. But I would say most of the support in terms of, as I said, the outlets that support are overseas. But because of the consistency, I've seen a lot more Jamaican people locally start to support or recognize it.
What about, so we're talking about fans and other artists, other DJs, but what about other companies or brands? Do you find that it's easier for you to work with the local companies, any local companies or organizations reaching out to you? Or were you actually able to get connected to overseas companies or brands and work with them? Which one is easier for you?
Okay, well, I haven't really collaborated with many brands, to be honest. When I mentioned Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica, that was something that came about because I happened to work in the advertising industry as well. So that was an opportunity that kind of fell in my lap, and I was suited for it. I ran with it. It worked. It was a success. But I haven't really reached out to many brands anywhere, whether locally or internationally. A lot of what I've been doing has been me and my peers funding things ourselves. I would love to have more brand partnerships. That's one thing that I plan to be doing a lot more in 2021, especially with how I've been positioning myself. But at this point in time, I can't say I've dealt with a lot of established brands. It's mostly been maybe smaller people, my peers who are doing things, people doing events, people have a platform, etc. So nothing really big,
Well,
but yeah,
I'm confident that's coming. I'm confident that's coming your way. And
I think it's coming. I'm positioning myself for that, and I'm trying to make these things happen for 2021 and thinking it into being as well.
correct. You have to position yourself so that you're ready to accept the opportunities. That's correct. And
Definitely.
to segue into the next question, because you just mentioned that you have a background in advertising. So from hearing you speak throughout the conversation, it is definitely clear that you are a creative entrepreneur. You are an arts entrepreneur because you've started movements, as you said. You are kind of a outlier where you're uh, creating your own path. You're paving your own way. So you are blazing your own trail as a creative entrepreneur. Now, with that background in marketing, how has that helped you in the promotion of your work and building your brand? How has a background in marketing help in that in building your hip hop brand?
A whole lot. In fact, I have a degree in media and communication, and I think that gave me an insight into how the media works, how to market, how to write a press release, and that has made a big difference for me in just being able to present what I'm doing, because instead of hiring a publicist, I'm now able to do that myself. And having that background as well as experience in advertising, I have that insight in terms of how to present a brand, how to communicate, and how to use social media, which is so important nowadays.
Right, right. Well, that's so important in able to be understanding how you can actually communicate the story that you're trying to tell, whether it comes to working with a brand or working with another artist. Um,
Yes.
yeah, you're looking a little brighter there. No, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I had to do that. I realized I was getting darker. The sun is kind of going down or starting to
Right,
go down
right.
a bit. Yeah.
But it's great to know that. Do other members of the council, some of your other closer artists, your team, do they also have like backgrounds in advertising, or do they also understand how important it is to be able to promote and market yourself as a professional entrepreneur while doing art?
No, they don't have that background like I do, but
Mm,
I always try to share, whatever I'm doing, the thoughts that I have, information I come across, just to, figure out how we can build our brands and our movement. And as a
nice.
hip hop artist in Jamaica, that has been very important because, without the platforms and the support, the way you build a name is, as I said, getting the music outside of Jamaica. Usually
Mm,
start with just a simple email, a pitch, a presentation, and that's how you build the relationships as well as locally with the media. So
nice.
that experience that I have is something that I leverage, and I try
Mhm.
to share as much with the team, and they're also learning because they're doing it for themselves. We all do our own thing as independent artists. So we're a crew, but we still are solo acts that have our own paths and our own catalogs, etc.
I like it. I like it. I like it. So as a poet, a spoken word artist in Barbados, I've had to wear multiple hats sometimes, and not just generate revenue from my poetry, but find other means in which to make a living, but still creatively. So I want to know, for you, Steve, in Jamaica, are there any other ways in which you use to creatively express yourself? And you have many messages in your music, yes, but all of us artists, you have several things coming into our minds, and we may want to dabble in other ways. Is there any other way that you creatively express yourself?
Mostly music, I would say. In advertising, I do write copy. So I may work on ads, whether print ads, radio ads, TV ads, but I don't really consider that my expression. My expression is really just music. I think I do write articles from time to time that I have on my website, but all
Right,
of the articles that I've written are pretty much me chronicling local hip hop. So I've written about, for example, the idea that we have First Coast. You probably heard me mention that prior when we had our little pre-production meeting. And first course is basically a term that we came up, the council, and we used to shout it all the time at Pay Attention. And it's what we call the community or hip hop in Jamaica. And when we say first course, we say this because there's a man named DJ Kool Herc who is recognized as the father of hip hop. DJ Kool Herc is a Jamaican, and without him leaving Jamaica, there may be no hip hop as we know it today. So in hip hop, you have, New York, which people call the East Coast. You have the West Coast. So we theorize that Jamaica is the first coast. And it's not just Jamaica that has produced Kool Herc and many others. There's the entire Caribbean, even Barbados. Because you have people like Africa Bambaataa, you have people like Grandmaster Flash, also from Barbados. So when we say first coast is Jamaica and the entire Caribbean, and that's us trying to put ourselves in the conversation. So this is one of the things that I've written about, and I actually wrote an academic paper about this idea, which I submitted for a University of the West Indies conference that will be held February 2021. It was initially planned for April 2020, but COVID. So it has been postponed to 2021. And the conference is titled The Legacy of DJ Kool Herc. So I wrote this paper, which is built upon the idea that we've had, submitted it, and all being well, I'll be presenting that paper there, whether physically or digitally, in February. So that's my other expression, writing, and most of my writing lately has been trying to chronicle local hip hop because I feel I'm best positioned to do so, given my experience and involvement. Whereas I don't want the media to try to tell the story, and I want them to tell the story, but I don't want them to tell the story without me telling it the right way and having all the details that they may not care for,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome work. That's awesome work. I could have said it better myself. I went peeking through in preparing for this interview. I went peeking through your Instagram and saw that you have some merchandise as well, some t-shirts. I saw this really engaging video.
That's correct. I'm wearing the merchandise now.
Right. So how does the merchandise help to reinforce your work, man? Tell us about the merchandise.
Okay, well, to be honest, the merchandise is fairly new, and it's something that I've stepped up recently.
Can you stand while speaking about it so we can see?
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Right, go ahead.
All right, so this is the artwork from my first album, War for Peace, which I put out in 2012. And these are actually new shirts. They're available on my Bandcamp, fivesteez.bandcamp.com, or at my store, Big Cartel. So you can go to my Instagram, Twitter, wherever you see a link for that. So you can order shirts. They ship worldwide. And as I said, it's something that I've been just stepping up. So when I did the Love and Art album last year in 2019, we had t-shirts. So I think you'd have seen me wearing Love and Art t-shirts on my Instagram. But now I've produced some more t-shirts for the other projects that I released in the past. So now I have the War for Peace t-shirts. I have t-shirts for these Kingston Times. And even the council, we have t-shirts at our own Big Cartel store as well. So that's something that is good. It looks good. When people see you wearing your own brand, it looks good. I like to be branded. And it reinforces what you do and the work you have. And also helps to market the product itself, whether the shirt or the album, and just you as a brand and an artist.
I love it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on behalf of Catapult. I got to thank the Catapult partners once again, talking about the American Friends of Jamaica, Kingston Creative, and Fresh Milk for making this possible. I'm DJ Simmons, and I'm here talking with Five Steez. But it's not just me that's talking to Five Steez. We actually give you guys the opportunity to enter any questions that you may have. I've been really enjoying the conversation. You've actually been inspiring me a bit, Steez. No lie, for sure.
Good.
We're gonna launch now into the question and answer segment. So if you could have the first question come up, let's see what the people are asking of you, Steez. So let's have the first question. All right, so question from Author Girl 44, and she says, the question of authenticity in culture is huge. Our content doesn't have to conform to expectations to be Caribbean. It is inherent in the work. Have you connected with a regional hip hop scene?
Yes, I have. I've been in touch with a number of hip hop artists in other islands. There's an artist in Trinidad called Cambio Grooves that I collaborated with some years ago. I have a few contacts in Guadeloupe. Whereas in the Caribbean, I've connected with people. I actually, if it weren't for COVID, I would actually be traveling to Cuba on Thursday for a forum, a hip hop forum that brings together the Caribbean. This forum will now be digital, so I'm actually waiting for the edit of that performance so I can submit it. So I have connected with other hip hop artists in the Caribbean. In regards to
what's the name of the forum in Cuba? What was the name of it?
I can't tell you right now. It's in Spanish. It's in Spanish, and it's not so easy. Yeah.
No problem.
But if you do follow me on social media, though, I'm sure in December when it does air, I'll be sharing the performance video and some information about it. So yes, I have connected with other artists in the Caribbean. On the matter of authenticity, I do agree with that there, because sometimes I feel that, like, what makes something authentic? And I think for me, it's about being true to who you are and being true to something. But when people talk about what is authentic Caribbean or authentic reggae, authentic Jamaican, authentic dancehall, a lot of times I feel that us here in the Caribbean, where so much of our music and content and culture is consumed by foreigners, sometimes I feel like we trap ourselves in a box of doing what has already worked or fitting into that perception of who we are, when that is not necessarily who all of us are. So in the Jamaican context, yeah, we have reggae and dancehall, but that's not all people listen to. Not everybody looks like one or the other. There are people in between. There are people that are completely different. And when you're on the ground, you realize that that is what is authentic. People just being themselves without trying to fit, without trying to conform to whatever expectations, whether internal or worse, external.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Actually, that listening to you just now, it made me think about something. So, especially in places like Trinidad and Barbados, which are heavily into, is very soca is the major genre that is exported in terms of music in Trinidad and Barbados. And I know that there are a lot of other artists. They may not be soca artists. They're artists. They do hip hop, R&B, what have you, rock. But they would tend to use soca music as almost as a promotional a tip, you know, to get people from the soca arena to learn about them, so that they could then introduce their following to the other music, their natural way, their genuine way of expressing. So
and what's funny is maybe them doing soca is not even authentic to them.
Yeah.
Even though they're Trinidadian or Barbadian, you know, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's what speaks to you. Right. You know what I mean? So even I find us in Jamaica, sometimes we hold on to reggae so much as if only we can make it. And there are people in Africa making great reggae. There are people in Europe and the Bay Area making great reggae, and they're making inroads in the industry and selling more records than we are. So instead of complaining about it, I think we should be stepping up what we're doing with our marketing. You know what I mean? And everyone can have their audience. But what you're doing will resonate with who is like you or want to be like you. You know?
I'm loving it. All right, we have 2 more questions, so let's get through these. Let's have the next question, please. Let's pick the mind of Five Steez. Steez, this is from Annalie Davis of Fresh Milk. Can you talk about the shoulders you stand on, those who came before you, and if you benefited from mentors that encourage you to develop as a lyricist and a hip hop artist? So speak about your mentors.
Okay, well, locally, I think, and I really wish I got to mention this before, there's a space called Gambling House Recording Studio, which we've considered as a mecca for hip hop in Kingston for a long time. It recently closed about 2 years ago, but this was a space that I came in contact with in maybe 2004. And this is where I started to discover the wider community. Before, I thought it was just me and my friends rapping and some other guys that I ended up meeting out there. But when I came to this place, I realized it was a community, it was a studio. There were a lot of artists, producers, and that's where I first knew the community. I met some of my current collaborators. So even the council, the Sickest Drama and the Instincts, I met them at Gambling House. And someone like Instincts, who is actually older than myself, he was a mentor to me and the rest of us, a lot of us around Gambling House. He was a mentor to us because he's been producing for a very long time and been involved in the hip hop scene. So he's helped to shape our own ideas about hip hop culture and our craft and how we approach it.
Nice.
So Gambling House was a major influence in terms of making you feel comfortable and being able to learn from older people who are practicing the craft. Now, I think that's pretty much about it for like mentors that I've had. Okay. Outside of that, I mean, I have influences from all over. When it comes to hip hop, you know, Nas, Tupac, Big Pun, Dead Prez, Talib Kweli, Mos Def, like a whole host of acts from what I was listening to when I was growing up to even what I'm listening to right now, because I'm still inspired. So there's a lot that I'm standing on. Locally, unfortunately, there haven't been many acts that have really broken a certain type of ground where I can say, yo, I'm building upon what someone else did, you know. But for me, it's always giving credit to Gambling House, because that was a family, that was a crew, and a lot of us still rep it. And I think that was the biggest thing that we've seen locally, that everyone can identify with and drew some form of inspiration or motivation from at some point.
Powerful, powerful. Gambling House, you have to remember that.
Yeah.
When the COVID thing over, you can see if we could pass through and see who we can meet as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, as I said, Gambling House no longer exists. The property is now a car lot, you know, but the spirit still lives on.
The heart is still there.
Yeah.
Maybe Five Steez and the council is going to be able to find a way to create something else that is just like Gambling House, or even.
Yes, we need that.
So let's get to the last question really quickly. The last question for the evening for Steez. All right, so Bim Vibes is here, and Bim Vibes asks, can you name 2 artists from the Caribbean and 2 internationally that you would like to work with?
Okay, well, you know, I'm
even just hip hop.
All right, let me think. Because that funny thing about me, I'm open to collaborating with anyone that I feel like we have a chemistry and we can work together. But I haven't really sought out a lot of collaborations or thought, hey, I'd love to collaborate with that person. Let me, you know. But off top, let me say, all right, let me choose one Jamaican artist for now. I would say Junior Gong, Damian Marley, one of my favorite Jamaican artists. I consider not just a reggae artist, but also a dancehall artist. And he can dabble in hip hop. So I'd love to collaborate with Junior Gong.
Nice.
Since, I mean, we're talking to Fresh Milk Barbados, I'm going to say, you know what? Rihanna, why not? Because I know Rihanna has a lot of love for Jamaica, and I know she was supposed to be doing a reggae album. I'm not sure what is happening there, but I think Rihanna is a global superstar, and there are a lot of things that I like about her music. So I would say Rihanna. Internationally, I would say Nas. Nas, because favorite rapper growing up, he's still alive, still doing his thing. And then maybe to move away from hip hop, I'd probably say like an Alicia Keys. I've always been a fan of Alicia Keys, her musicianship, her singing, her songwriting. And because I've been a fan for so long, I think I'd want to collab with her, you know? She's a big influence at a certain point in my life. So I say, let's make it Alicia Keys.
Sweet. Well, you never know. There may be a spoken word artist from Barbados called D.J Simmons that might reach out to you and see if a collaboration could happen same way too. You never know.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Yeah, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about out of time. But Five Steez, is there any last words you want to leave with us, leave with the people in the chat Anything you want to say for the last?
I would like to thank everyone for tuning in, for watching, listening. If you asked any questions, I hope I answered for you. If you didn't, you can always reach out to me online. Follow me on my platforms, look up the music. And thanks to everyone. Thanks to Catapult, the American Friends of Jamaica, Kingston Creative, Fresh Milk Barbados, the whole First Coast. First Coast meaning Yard, Jamaica, the whole Caribbean. And if you don't live a Caribbean right now, wherever you're in the world, because we're people who live all over the world. So one love to everybody that's here and not here with us right now.
Nice. I can feel the energy, man. I'm loving it. And I'm loving Steez because he did half my job for me, thanking all the partners of Catapult once again. American Friends of Jamaica, Kingston Creative, Fresh Milk. Thank you so much for making this thing happen. Please, guys, this is just one day of the Catapult lockdown virtual salon. You got to tune and join us again Friday the 13th at 1 p.m. where you will get to hear Natalie or Quart from the Cayman Islands. She'll be in discussion with Susan Mains. She's from Jamaica. And then Susan will return at 4 p.m. on Friday again to speak with Nicholas Rose. And he is our brother of Five Steez over in Jamaica as well. So be sure to come back to the Fresh Milk YouTube page on Friday for more from the Catapult. And remember to subscribe to their YouTube account because not only will you get to hear these videos live, you would also get to see some of the past work and what's coming up with Fresh Milk and all the work that they are doing. I want to thank everyone for passing through, joining us if you were here for the entire discussion. Thank you so much. We apologize for the little technical difficulties we had earlier. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your questions. Thank you, Five Steez, for your brilliant mind. Keep pushing and making sure that you build that plateau of hip hop in Jamaica. Thanks again to everybody else. My name is DJ Simmons. Thank you and goodbye.